Welcome back to NTV's Good Life.
Well, like we said, there's a lot of entertainment here at the State Fair, and this year is no exception. And I want to introduce our next guest. He is going to be fascinating to know more about. Dale Scott is here with us this morning. He is with Scott Future. You have your Future of Magic show that's going to be performing here at the State Fair all the way through Labor Day. But first of all, thank you for being here. I know you're very busy.
It's my pleasure.
First of all, let's talk a little bit about who Dale Scott is, because reading a little bit about you, interesting background, grew up in a family of entertainers.
Yes.
Magic piqued your interests before your teen years, right?
Oh, yeah. When I was a boy, my uncle was actually a fair manager and in Cincinnati. And I got the bug for entertainment and show business at an early age. So I did some stilt walking and some magic when I was a young boy at the fair. But after that, I joined a club for magic called the Counts of Conjuring. It was one of the oldest magic clubs in existence for magicians. And I was mentored by a man named Bill Brewy, who taught us all not just to do magic, but to created a fellowship, if you will, and helped us design a magic show and actually compete in competition, which would make us get better, work against each other, but then ultimately for the betterment of the art. So after that, he directed me and sort of nudged me to go to a magic college up in Michigan called the Chavez College of Prestidigitation and Manual Dexterity. Mouthful.
That started in like the 1930s, or that's when Chavez maybe was born.
With Ben and Marion Chavez originally.
Yes.
And but Neil was the premier authority on sleight of hand. He was their student. Yeah, Neil Foster. And
who is one of your, I'm sure, one of your inspirations, correct?
Oh, absolutely, and my teacher for sleight of hand and manipulation stage magic. And it helped me develop an award-winning act that I went on to compete with and won some national, international awards. And from there, I headed out into the cruise industry and started traveling the world with that act and performing all over the world. And then the interesting thing was traveling to all the different places of the world and seeing all the wonderful cultures and art forms that were really there. I started to tap into that and add that into my magic and make it so much more interesting for the audience and for the stage, by adding all of those theatrical elements into the show. And then the show just took off from there, and it grew, and it's gone all over the world. We were even in Alaska State Fair last year. We're playing 10 state fairs this year.
Nice.
And it's just nothing but fun. Kids love magic. They always have, but especially today with the technology world, you have all of the gaming and technology. And so we've created this show called the Future of Magic show.
Which we see on the screen right now. And it is very futuristic looking when you think about it. I mean, obviously, that's why you're calling it that.
Yeah. And here you'll see there's some clips from the Orient, from some of the travels. We added that into it, but still with a futuristic element. And the kids love the gaming and the technology, so we added some of that in, too. It really holds their attention, and they enjoy it a lot. It has to do with the special effects, the magic, the art, and here you can see a lot of lasers and neon. And so we're trying to present it in a whole new way.
You know magic, don't you,
I
Ron?
do.
Poof.
There I go.
Well, and it's just so impressive. I mean, the school that you were talking about and having Neil Foster, because he really went on. He was one of the big magicians of all times, and went on to the Chavez School. And when I read a little bit more about that school and how it's really about the use of your hands and how you learn dexterity and different things like that, and because it's all sleight, like they say, sleight of hand.
Well, the sleight
Neil
of hand
Foster was great at that.
He was the best. And sleight of hand is the purest form of the magic art.
Yes.
It's like symphony, the classical to music and the symphony, to music. So in each and every show, we always try to add some sleight of hand in tribute to Neil Foster and Chavez and sleight of hand magic. In fact, in the show we have here, we do a routine with hundreds of coins that just get produced out of thin air, and a child child comes on stage and magic happens with the coins, and it's a kind of a neat special moment for me. I try to have that in every show. So that came from the Chavez
Yeah.
College, and of course we've added a lot of other comedic elements to it, over the years too. But that's a special moment. And another one of my mentors was the great Richie Artie, and few people got close to know him, but I actually spent almost 6 months with him, and I was
Wow.
backstage with him 3 times a week in between shows, after shows, and he was the great illusionist. So that takes us to the other spectrum of magic.
Exactly.
He was the greatest illusionist, some say, of all time, but he was the magician's magician.
See,
So.
I'm sitting here watching your hands. I'm waiting for
She's waiting for money to come out.
I'm like, because you do, when you do this, you can tell you have learned how to do this and the magic and the sleight of hands. But we're going to take a break because I'm
Sure.
going to take some extra time. When we come back, Dale is going to show us all of this magic back here, and we're going to show you as well. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
Sounds good.